There are roughly 10,000 species of birds on this planet. Every single one of them lays eggs. When you walk into a grocery store anywhere in the world, you basically find one option: chicken eggs, stacks and stacks of chicken eggs. Where is the pigeon egg aisle? Where are the seagull eggs? Why did humanity, out of 10,000 choices, put all its breakfast money on one single bird? Today, we are cracking open that question, and the answer is part biology, part economics, and part pure historical accident. Let us start with the obvious contender, because it is not like other birds do not lay perfectly edible eggs. Duck eggs, quail eggs, goose eggs, even ostrich eggs are all eaten around the world today, and people who try them often say they are delicious, sometimes richer or creamier than chicken eggs. So taste is clearly not the deciding factor here. Something else tipped the scales, and it happened thousands of years ago. The story really begins with domestication, and chickens had a massive head start. Genetic research traces the chicken back to red jungle fowl in Southeast Asia, with domestication believed to have begun somewhere around 8,000 years ago. That is an enormous amount of time for humans to selectively breed a bird for exactly what they wanted, which, as we covered in a previous video, turned out to be constant, reliable, near-daily egg production. Ducks and geese were domesticated too, but generally later, and often bred more heavily for meat and feathers than for egg output. Chickens simply got a multi-thousand-year head start in the one category that mattered most for your morning omelet. Then there is the practicality problem, and this is a big one. Chickens are small, efficient, and cheap to keep. A hen eats relatively little, takes up relatively little space, matures quickly, and starts laying within about 5 to 6 months of hatching. Compare that to a goose or an ostrich, both of which are larger, need considerably more feed, more space, and take much longer to reach laying age. When you are trying to feed a growing civilization, the animal that gives you the fastest return on the smallest amount of resources tends to win every single time. It is basically an ancient efficiency contest, and the chicken had the best numbers on the spreadsheet before spreadsheets even existed. Size matters here too, in a more literal sense. A chicken egg is a genuinely convenient size, large enough to be worth collecting and cooking with, small enough that a family can eat several in one sitting without waste. Quail eggs, by comparison, are tiny, roughly a fifth the size of a chicken egg, meaning you need a small pile of them just to match one regular egg's worth of food. Ostrich eggs sit at the opposite extreme, weighing in around 3 pounds each, which sounds impressive until you realize one ostrich egg is roughly equivalent to 24 chicken eggs, and cracking it open without proper tools is genuinely difficult. Chicken eggs landed in a kind of biological sweet spot, big enough to matter, small enough to be practical. There is also a temperament factor that rarely gets mentioned. Chickens, generally speaking, tolerate close confinement and human handling reasonably well compared to many other domesticated bird species. Geese can be aggressive and territorial. Many wild bird species simply never adapted to captivity at all. Raising thousands of chickens together in relatively tight quarters turned out to be far more manageable than doing the same with geese or pheasants, which made large-scale chicken farming dramatically easier to develop and expand over the centuries. Once chicken eggs had a head start in domestication, size, and practicality, economics did the rest of the work. As chicken farming scaled up over the 19th and 20th centuries, infrastructure was built specifically around chickens. Housing designs, feed formulas, breeding programs, even the entire supply chain of grading and shipping eggs efficiently. That infrastructure made chicken eggs cheaper and cheaper to produce relative to almost any other bird egg, which meant they became the obvious default choice on every grocery shelf, in every recipe book, in every restaurant kitchen. Once something becomes the cultural default, it tends to stay the default, simply because switching would mean rebuilding an entire industry from scratch. None of this means other bird eggs disappeared, by the way. Duck eggs remain popular across parts of Asia and Europe. Quail eggs show up frequently in Japanese and Southeast Asian cuisine. Goose eggs occasionally appear around certain holidays in parts of Europe. These eggs never vanished, they simply stayed niche, while chicken eggs rode an 8,000-year head start straight into becoming the global default. So the real answer to why humans eat mostly chicken eggs is not that chickens make some uniquely superior egg. It is that chickens happen to combine early domestication, manageable temperament, efficient size, and low resource cost into one convenient package, long before humans even understood genetics or nutrition science. Every other bird on Earth was simply outcompeted by biological and economic convenience, one omelet at a time. Next time you crack open a carton of eggs without a second thought, remember you are holding the winner of an 8,000-year-long competition between essentially every bird species on the planet, and the chicken did not win by being the best. It won by being the easiest. If this one cracked open something new for you, hit that like button, subscribe for more strange science behind everyday habits, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever actually tried a duck egg or a quail egg? I will see you in the next one.